Kindergarten, and welcome to another math lesson. Last week, we started a brand new module all about shapes, and we learned about flat shapes. We learned about a circle, we learned about a triangle, a square, and a rectangle. And this week, we are going to learn about solid shapes, 3D shapes. So before we dive into that, our math thinking job is I can find and describe solid shapes. But first, let's review some vocab from last week, which will help us this week with our new vocab. We learned about shapes that have curves. We also learned about shapes that were pointy. We learned that pointy parts of a shape were corners. We also learned about shapes that had sides, a straight line. These shapes that we learned about last week are called flat shapes, 2D shapes. Remember, a flat shape is something you can lay down. You won't see if you look at it at eye level, and you can swipe your hand across it. This week, we're going to learn about solid shapes, 3D shapes. Before I go into the vocab for this week, I want to show you something. When you look at this shape, what do you see? When you look at this shape, what do you see? You might have said you saw a square. If I run my hand across it, it's flat. However, if I back it up and I turn it around and show you, it's not just a square. We'll learn about what this shape is in a little bit. Let's look at this shape. What shape do you see? You might have said a circle. If I swipe my hand across it, there's a circle right there as it's flat. However, if I turn it around and show you, it's not just a circle. We'll learn more about this solid shape in a little bit. You probably said we're seeing another circle. There's that flat shape. But it's not just a circle. This is a fun shape, and we'll learn more about what this solid shape is later. And last one, you're probably saying this is a circle. However, this tricky solid shape is not just a circle, and we'll learn more about it in a little bit. Important things we need to know about solid shapes in 3D. We're going to see some solid shapes have edges. Just like the sides, on solid shapes, we call them edges. We're also going to see the corners of solid shapes. We call them a vertex. A vertex. That's where the points connect. And we just talked about this. These are the flat surfaces of a solid shape. We call them a face. We call them a face. We have edges, vertex, and a flat surface. I have a mystery bag, and let's find out about the first solid shape we're going to see. I wonder what this shape could be. You might have said that this shape is a square, as you see a square here, and you see a square here, and you see a square here. Your teacher's going to pause the video and talk about what solid shape this is, and talk about the edges and the vertex. So you just learned that this solid shape is named a cube. This is a cube, and a cube has faces, it has edges, and it has vertex. If you look at a cube, you are able to see that a cube has many faces, many edges, and many vertex. This is a face, this is an edge, and this is a vertex. This is a cube. All right, get your spy glasses on, your detective hat on, because you're going to look around your classroom or look around the room that you're in and see if you can find any cubes where you are. Your teacher's going to pause the video. Did you find any cubes in your classroom? I have a cube. It's a tissue box. There are the faces, there are the edges, and there's the vertex. Great job. Let's find out what our next shape is. What is this shape? Your teacher's going to pause the video and talk about what this shape is and find out, does this shape have face? Does this shape have edges? Does it have a vertex? You just learned this shape is a cylinder. Cylinders have two faces. Remember, a face is a flat surface. If you can run your hand across it, it means it's a flat surface. Cylinders, they don't have any vertex or any edges. They're round all the way around. They just have two faces. All right. Get your spy eyes on and your detective hat on, and I want you to look around the room you're in for any objects that have a cylinder shape. Your teacher's going to pause the video. You find any cylinders in your room? You might have seen something similar in your room. A Clorox wipe container. It has two faces, no edges, it's all round, and no vertex. If you're able to roll something, that means it's a cylinder because it has no edges and no vertex. It should be able to roll. All right, let's see what our next shape is. This is our tricky solid shape. Your teacher's going to pause the video and talk about what this shape is and find out, does it have any faces? Does it have any edges? Does it have any vertex? You just learned that this shape is a sphere. This picture on my screen doesn't really show you what a sphere looks like because a sphere is a round ball. There are no faces, there are no edges, and no vertex. It is all curves. It is round. It is round. Now, you are going to find spheres in the room that you are in. This is a sphere, and you are going to look around the room and see if you see any spheres in your room. Well, a sphere that I found in my room was this ball that we've seen in math before. It's round, it can roll. This is a sphere. What is this shape? Your teacher's going to pause the video and talk about what this shape is, if it has any faces, if it has any edges, and if it has any vertex. You just learned that this shape is a cone. A cone has no edges. It has a face and it has a vertex. This is a cone. This is a challenge shape. Your teacher's going to pause the video and look around the room to see if there are any cones in your room. The only cone I had in my room was this one. Your classroom might have had more cones than I had in my room. Now, you're probably wondering, we learned about flat shapes and we learned about solid shapes. But what makes a solid shape a solid shape? We took our circle and put it on my desk and saw that it was flat. We could run our hand across it, and if we looked down, we would just see across. Now, if I put a cylinder on a desk, what do you notice? Yeah, you notice that it pops up. You can see it. Many objects around your room that you can find that are solid shapes. So if I take this cylinder and I put it up, you can see it standing up. If it was just a circle, I would be able to run my hand across it. So today we learned about cylinders, we learned about cones, we learned about cubes, and we learned about spheres. Today in Seesaw, you're going to continue this work by matching the shapes and the objects, as well as drawing some of your own objects that match the solid shape. Until next time, bye, Kipster.